All right. Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday, March 2nd. Hope you guys are having a great morning and ready to rock and roll. Okay, so let's take a look at the markets and see what we're looking like this morning. So SPY in the Qs, we have this pivot right here on SPY overhead at 390.50. We kind of bumped into it yesterday, pulled back a little bit. This little pull that we got after hours and overnight here, the futures reset ourselves. So we did reset ourselves back down to the daily 5. So that gives us the ability to trend today. The SPY is not quite reset yet, but we are ready to rip. Qs, we did come back down. We broke this trend that we were watching here. We broke this trend. We came back down, sort of tested it. Now we're sort of bouncing back. So we got plenty of room higher, back up here towards this 329. So what I'm looking for today is, now that we are reset, I'm looking for a bit of a push here up through this 390.50 out of the open. If we can reclaim that, consolidate for a little bit, build a nice little flag, then we can see that end of day run and that push higher, which Qs have plenty of room to run higher as well. If we do, get rejected here, we start pulling back a little bit. We do have this support here on Qs, which should help prop SPY up without, getting a nice little sell-off. So if we do get that pull, just look for a little bit of a pull back down here towards this 386, 385 level. Qs right back down here towards this 320, 321 level, and we'll start looking for bottoming and the bounce through from there. If we do pop up, we'll let it pop up, consolidate for a little bit, and then we'll look for that nice push afterwards. Let me flip over here and go to the VIX, see what we're looking like here. The last couple of days we got some movement, but we'll take a look here and see how we're looking on a daily standpoint. Okay, so on a daily standpoint here, if you guys don't know, my Bollinger Band, I like to use Bollinger Bands for the VIX. We tend to get a pop whenever we are, tapping this bottom Bollinger Band. But as you guys can see, the last couple of days, we never really bounced off of this lower Bollinger Band here on VIX. So that's why we never really got a convincing pullback in the market. And at this point, we have plenty of room lower. If we start breaking this middle Bollinger Band here, we do have room back down. So we got plenty of room to move higher on the markets. Okay, so let's flip over here and take a look at our watch list. NVVC is going to be the first one on our watch list here. And so basically, they submitted a pre-investigational new drug application. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically an application before they can start doing human trials. And to me, if you guys have traded with me for any sort of time, you guys know that until they basically all they're doing is spending money until they they can get approved and get their drug out. So this is nothing but a pop and fade for me. Just looking for a pop. If we do get a pop up towards 10 out of the open, so we can start looking for topping on it and we can short it. I think it'll be a nice fade from there. If we do start to roll over out of the open, you guys go ahead, grab it short, fade it off back down to 7, and then we've got a little bit of an accumulation zone down there at 7. So what we have to do is basically wait for it to, if we start to roll over here, you guys can grab it short. You can grab it short here under this 780. Just fade it off back down here to 7. And then from there, we'll probably get held up for a little bit here at this accumulation zone, in which case we'll let it flag out and then we'll short it for that next leg down. Otherwise, look for this pop up here towards 10, top it off and short it. I think it'd be a nice fade from there. Rocket. So I didn't see any relative news this morning on Rocket and why it is gapping up. So basically with this one, I am, we're getting some momentum into Rocket this morning as well as some volume. So if this momentum and this volume does hold up, we could see a nice upside move on it today. The problem is gapping up with no news. We got to get some type of pull, whether that's going to be out of the open or that's going to be a pop and pull. In other words, pop and fade. So we are getting this pull already down to 27. When I was writing my notes, I'll pull it up here. I'll show you guys where it was when I was writing my notes and when I posted it. So Rocket was sitting right up here at this 28 level when I was writing my notes and posted it. So we are getting this pull back down here towards this 27. So at this point, you know, we can actually start looking for some momentum to start coming in out of the open. This is resetting us just enough to where we can start to get a push out of the open, and we can get a little bit more of a convincing push out of the open. The only thing to keep on watch here is we've got a bit of a distribution zone right up here in between 29 and 28, 25. So if you guys do look for that push out of the open, be aware that there's going to be some pretty strong resistance right up there. But if we do get through that, we do have room to about 30.50. I would prefer at this point to see a little bit more downside out of the open. I know we got this pullback back down to 27, but the fact gapping up with no news, and this was a pretty significant gap up, 24 to 28. I would like to see a little bit more. I would prefer to see this back down here towards this 26.50 at this point, and then we can start looking for that bottom curl off there, and we'll push it back up here into this 28 to 28.50, and then from there we'll have to let it pull back, build a nice big flag before we grab it long for that next leg up towards 30.50. Okay. FGEN. So they have they had earnings as well as you know, the FDA is holding a meeting. So I think this is going to get bought up. I think this weakness at some point today is going to get bought up, whether that's going to be right out of the open or if we're going to get a quick pull out of the open, and then we'll look for that bottoming. But I do think that we have I think this weakness will get bought up at some point today. So what I'd like to see is a pull out of the open right back down here to 36 and under. From there, start looking for the bottoming, grab it long. I think we get a nice bounce on it. If this does start to get bought up out of the open, you guys grab it long for a quick pop to 40 and then top it off and be done with it from there. Whoops. So we've got a nice accumulation zone right down here at 36, and we also have a distribution zone right up here at 41. So what I'm looking for is a pull out of the open right down here into this accumulation zone at 36. From there, start looking for the bottoming on it, grab it long. I think we get a nice bounce and push back up here towards 40 to 41. If this does start to get bought up out of the open, you guys can grab it long. It's going to be more of a scalp trade here out of the open. You guys can grab it long for a quick scalp trade, bam, up here 41, 42, and then top it off. And if we're able to hold up, if we can hold the volume, if we can hold these levels, and we can start breaking out of this distribution zone up here, we can look for that next leg up toward 45.50. But it's going to be a you know, late afternoon trade, or maybe it's going to run into the close or something. But this isn't going to be a just immediate push to 45. What we're looking for is a quick pop into 41, 40, and then we'll top it off. Let it do its thing. If it's gonna sorry, if it's gonna roll over and start to sell off, we'll just let it go. We'll let it sell off, do its thing, but we want to catch that quick initial move. If this does pull here, like I said, into this 36, then we can look for the bottoming on it, and we can look for that slow grind higher today. Neo. So Neo had earnings, mixed earnings. Earnings weren't that great, but I love the guidance. I think the guidance is what's going to get this thing bought back up today, as well as, you know, this thing being a hot topic lately. So Neo, what I'm looking for here is if we can get a pull down here, 46 and under, which we are currently just about to, start looking for the bottoming, grab it long. We should get a nice bounce and push higher on it today. If this does start to get bought up out of the open, you guys grab it long, and I think it'll make a nice move. So let's check it out here. So we've got a nice big accumulation zone right down here. So 46 and under. At this point, I would, you know, anywhere inside of this accumulation zone. I know this is a pretty big one. You know, it's from like 46 to 41. But if we can get down inside of this accumulation zone, anything down inside of this big box here, if we can start finding the bottom on it, we'll start looking for the dip buy. I think 45 would be a good area at this point because we are sort of fading right down here into the open. So at this point, let's see if we can get that quick snap down through this 46 into this accumulation zone. We'll start looking for the bottoming at this 45 on it. From there, we'll look for the, like I said, look for the bottoming, grab it long, pop back up through this accumulation zone. We got a lot of room higher. If this does hold up here at this 46 and we start pushing out of the open, just look for a nice push up towards 49. I think this weakness is going to get bought up today. AI. So AI had earnings beat, not great. So I am looking for this weakness to get bought up a little bit, but this one's going to be a little bit different. I think we need a little bit more downside out of the open. I think it's going to take just a little bit longer for the long to set up on this one. I would just like to see a nice low volume fade here out of the open. So look for a pull down here at 102 and under, and we'll start looking for the bottoming on it, grab it long. If this does start to get bought up out of the open, look for a push back to 113. You guys can grab it long. So with this one, I would prefer to see a nice fade right back down here to this 102, and then from there we'll let it base out down here, and then we'll catch it as it starts to curl off of this 102 level. I don't think that this one is a very good setup here out of the open. This one we need for it to set up. Unless we start to get bought up, then you guys can take it long for that quick pop to 113. But if we do get that yank down to 102, I think we have to wait for this one to set up. We have to wait for this one to create a nice big base before... Sorry about that. Nice big base before we start looking for the bottom curl off of that 102 level. Okay? And otherwise, like I said, if it starts to get bought up, 103 pop. And last one is Square. So Square, they've started some financial services operations in Utah. So they're doing business loans and whatnot. So with this one, what I'd like to see is a pull down here, 242.50 or 247. Sorry, it does not look like we're going to get that. We are starting to pop, and we are almost to our 254 already. So at this point, we'll take a look. We're hitting a trend right here at this 253, but we do have this overhead resistance with the distribution zone between this 257 and 262. So at this point, it's going to be a tough one. This one's going to be a really quick snap, or a really quick push out of the open. If we get this trend break right up here in this 256, which I don't think that's enough room to grab it long here right out of the open. So if we do get this push through this trend line, what I would prefer to see is it get up into this accumulation zone, build a nice base right up here, build a nice flag, and then as we start breaking out of this accumulation or distribution zone here, for that next leg up, we can look for this 272 area. But I would like to see a pull right back down here to this 247, and then we can start looking for the bottom curl off of there. Okay. For our swing trades, first one on the list here, TDOC. That one's looking good. Still holding those 232.50 calls from yesterday. Held it through, and we are looking good this morning. We on a higher time frame basis, we're looking good. We do still target this 240 level. So that's what we're looking for. We get through that, we got plenty of room higher. And the other one is Riot. Grabbed this one yesterday going into the close, and we're gapping up nicely. Still targeting this ultimate target's going to be up here in this 270 level, but I'll be looking to take some off right up here if we can get this push up here into this 6250 to the 65 range. I'll be looking to take some off there, scale some out, and then I'll be looking for that next leg up towards 70 and 75. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.